Kelly had problems. This is Kelly. I can't tell you what her problems were. No? Wouldn't you tell them?
Where do you want me to start?
Let's start at the beginning.
I was a very, very unwanted pregnancy. So we ended up tracing back to back in the 60s when my mom got pregnant with me. And she did I didn't make sure I didn't arrive. I made it, but oh, thank you.
Got for the wind tunnel.
So yeah, and I didn't really even realize that I had, throughout some pretty long conversations with Steve, it started to kind of come out. So same thing. I used to bite my fingernails until they would bleed, and I never knew why. And it came down to that I have never, even in my infancy, my mom walked into the hospital, gave birth to me, turned around and walked out and left me there. So my some relatives came and claimed me. So there was an underlying issue where I could not recall ever feeling safe, ever. And so I was always just a really high-strung, nervous kid all the time. And then ended up having to, 2 years later, my mom came back into my life. And so I had no comprehension of what a maternal relationship felt like. There was this woman that I lived with and that sometimes fed me, but, so Steve really helped me go back and untangle a lot of that mess, because it had manifested into some pretty significant issues now that I'm 50. And what would you add to that, Steve? What would you add to that?
How far back you had to go?
In utero. Yeah, because she did some pretty crazy stuff to, she was 23, but she was quite wild. And there was a lot of lies around her pregnancy. And then she hid her pregnancy for a long time. She drank and smoked through her whole pregnancy. She strapped her stomach so that people couldn't tell she was pregnant. I was 4 pounds when I was born. So I don't know. She to this day doesn't talk about it. I don't have a relationship with her to talk about it. I'm more of a parent to her. She's extremely dysfunctional, and then went on to have 3 more children, which I raised. So, yeah, there was and for me, growing up it was just my normal. I didn't know it was different than anybody else. It was just my normal, but I was a very high-strung, nervous person all the time. And it manifested within my relationships, my marriage. I attracted some really not great people in my life. So now, it's a completely different story. So it did manifest into some health problems. Some pretty severe health problems. And Steve helped me work at the same thing, fibromyalgia and all of those types of things. That's how it kind of came out. And he really kind of went in there and, a lot of the times where he did some hypnosis and some other things, I didn't recall what I had said or my body language. And, he would explain to me what I did. And so it's been really cool to kind of unleash all of that and not feel like I weigh 10,000 pounds all the time. Because it was just that's where both shoulders were almost frozen to the point where even physical therapy and things like that weren't helping me. I couldn't turn my head. And within 2 treatments, I don't have any more shoulder pain. So, and it's good.
Yay!
Yeah, and I have a really happy relationship now. So it took me till I was 50 to figure it all out. Well, it took me till I was 49 to meet him. So.
Cool. Kelly had to go back when she got regressed to a place that some people have to go back to an earlier time to deal with it. Some people have to go back to childhood to deal with it. Some people have to go back to where they're very young. Some people have to go back to the womb. Kelly had to go back before the womb. because of what went on with her mother. Because children, I'll call them children when they're in the womb, okay, and they're developing, all right, they hear sounds, they hear patterns that are all being recorded. Everything you do from when you first come on is recorded in your head. All right. The problem is not that it's not in there. The problem is being able to recollect what you want when you want because of the filters that you use. So children constantly recording, and then later on they become 5, 6, 7. They start learning language, and they start hearing the same patterns again. The subconscious starts hearing the same patterns again with parents or fighting parents or the word structure, and now it starts filling in these things. And maybe not exact, but close enough, where they piece it all together in their subconscious. They're not even conscious that they know this, okay? But that's all running in the background, and things that are affecting their life and their decisions from all the way up. From Kelly's case was like 9 months before day one. Her decisions were being molded because of the feelings, because of the stress, because of being wrapped, because of all those things. But look at you now, kid.